Hello, my name is A. Allen, and I'm a member of Streetwise, and you are watching Streetwise Live, CAN TV, Channel 21. We are also streaming live on cantv.org/hotline. I'm joined here with my co-host, Dave Hamilton, and he's our creative director, and I'm so glad that Dave is here. You know, the show seemed to go much smoother with Dave. Dave is good company, and he's down-to-earth people, and I really enjoy what he has to say. Dave is our creative director. First of all, introducing you, Dave, can you tell us what you do at Streetwise?
Oh, sure. So I'm the creative director, so what I do is I do a lot of the design work and the conceptualizing and creating covers and interior layouts, but I also work with the editor and make sure that we curate content and that is on brand, that is stuff that our readers want to hear about. So I also help curate the content, and we also help make sure that our brand is recognizable through all the things we do, whether it's our website or our magazine or a newsletter or a press release, like all of those things. I make sure that visually it looks the same as our paper so that we have one visual voice. I think that's really, really important because, Chicago's a big city. There's other publications. There's a lot going on the street.
Yeah.
But if someone can see a Streetwise and, see the logo and they're like, oh, that I know for sure that's a real Streetwise. That's not a fake. It's not a phony.
Right.
It's not a Pause Chicago,
Okay.
which... bless them, but they have free magazines which get in our way sometimes. But
Okay.
so it's just kind of bringing everything together, making it look like one cohesive piece while providing content and information that people can enjoy and get behind.
That's very well said. And when we speak of creativity, I can really appreciate your creativity as a vendor, because I'm out there selling a magazine, and when I sell a magazine, I want to sell a good quality product. I really do. And so just to review some of the things that you have done with Streetwise, we're going to start in, this was December. The cannabis, let's see. Take a look at the cannabis cover. Okay, that was the cannabis cover, and then from there we had the Martin Luther King cover. We have the all-in-one cover. We have the Streetwise yearbook. That's something new that came out this year, right?
Yeah, that was an interesting new thing that we decided to do. So we were kind of inspired just by, it was like around the end of the year when we had the idea and everybody was talking about like year-end recaps and stuff like that. And so we kind of wanted to do something along those lines. And actually one of our fellow street papers had an issue that was just pictures of all their vendors, like all of them.
Yeah, the
Just
yearbook.
pictures and a name. And we were like, well, that's kind of fun, but like we gotta still tell a story.
Okay.
And like, just showing your picture isn't the same as you saying something.
Right, yeah.
So we decided to do kind of a similar idea, but instead of just doing pictures with the name, we talked about behind the scenes at Streetwise.
Yes.
We talked about the things we do with vendors,
Right.
Like our writing group and
Right.
our nutrition classes
Right.
and our computer services and all that kind of stuff. So we talked about everything we do at Streetwise, and then we did the pictures of all the vendors too.
Yes.
But we got quotes from everybody to add to it, so that not only you're seeing their picture, you get to know a little bit about them.
Right.
And our guest later on the show actually helped collect all that information for that issue.
So that was a real good issue. And then
I was trying to make it look like a yearbook, you see,
yeah,
and then people
it is
signed it and stuff. That was the goal.
That was real beautiful. And then we have up here, this is my job. A lot of people don't know, the customers don't know that the vendors use Streetwise as a stepping stone until they can do better. And then we have our little sticker on here. I love my Streetwise vendor. I liked it that the yearbook, this was the first year we had that. And then we had the Sacred Ground. And that covered what? Bronzeville.
Yeah, that was for the first week of Black History Month. We talked with Tim back. I
Yeah.
think you guys talked about it on the show, but
Yeah, we did.
so they talked about Bronzeville
Bronzeville.
back in the 20s, 30s.
Yeah, the history of Bronzeville.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You have a lot of prominent people on the cover here, too.
Yeah, so for the cover, I wanted it to look like this print kind of reminded me of like a modern African print,
Okay.
like something like just a modernized version of like a more traditional print.
Okay.
So I kind of turned it into like a quilt of our
Yeah, that's
history was
beautiful.
the idea.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And if you look closely, you could let's see. If you look closely, you can see some faces on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see some faces, and these are prominent people that came up in Bronzeville.
Yeah,
You know, that's a beautiful cover. Okay.
Well, this guy here, this is Timwell Black. He's the guy we
Timmy
spoke
Black,
with.
yeah.
Yeah, and these are his kids.
Okay, that guy's
Yeah.
100 and some years old.
He's
right?
I think he's
Yeah.
104.
Yeah, he's
103.
We talked about
There's
him.
Nat King Cole there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put that together very well.
Thank you.
That's the reason why I like working for Streetwise, because we have a good product, you know, and this is some of the other creative things that you have done with the Festival Guide 2019. And then moving right along, we have the Time to Travel. This was an old magazine, but it's very creative. The cover is very creative, you know, and Mr. Hamilton, I really want to thank you for coming on the show. And not only that, but also for giving us a lot of creativity. This was last week's, and that was very creative. I liked it that.
Thanks.
I really liked it that.
We had a very, it's Women's History Month.
Right.
So we had a couple of ideas of how to celebrate. So this is, like you said, last week's cover. And it was a great story, and I'm sure you talked about it with Suzanne last week.
Yeah, we did.
But it's about, the role that Illinois played in the women's suffrage movement.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, looking back
Okay.
at women's suffrage.
Yeah.
But now for this week, we're celebrating the future and celebrating women that are making changes now to make a better future for all of us. So it was kind of like the past, and now today we're looking forward.
Okay,
Looking back, looking forward.
and you know what? Speaking of looking back and looking forward, that's what this cover shows me, right? I don't know if this is supposed to be an angel. Is this supposed to be an angel?
I don't know.
Showing her the right way to go to political. Okay, and then this is the present, and this is the future. The little girl. It's sort of like the
Yeah,
future.
I mean, it's kind of,
And that's what I really like.
I never
about
thought
you.
of it like that, but
That's
yeah, that makes
creativity.
sense.
That's
I
creativity.
mean, it's a little girl showing or getting to see the future too, right?
Yeah. And I know it's one cover you had created with Abraham Lincoln and President Obama. And that said a lot, the cover. That was a long time ago.
I don't remember
was just,
it, yeah.
I was just looking at the cover. I don't think I have it with me, but it says a lot. The cover says a lot. And mind you, Dave, I've had customers that say to me, "Oh, that's a pretty cover. Let me get that paper. I like the cover of it." And
Well,
that's saying a lot about creativity. Okay,
That's
but
the goal.
also you have an intern, Rachel. She's here in the studio, and this is the latest one. You speaking of future is females, okay? Going back to this one, female, the future of the females. That's the little girl, right? And then we have the future of female, and Rachel wrote about that, and that's actually one of your interns. But for the people that don't know anything about street papers. I would like for you to watch this video real quick and just tell you about street papers. Streetwise is just one of many street papers. Watch this video and you'll see that street papers are all over the world.
A street paper is a publication sold on the street by people experiencing homelessness and poverty. There are more than 100 street papers around the world, sold by people just like you, in more than 35 countries and 25 languages. Together, we belong to the International Network of Street Papers.
Street papers are community, and they've got this whole web of relationships that are built around them. And when you put all of those vendors together, you get this huge web of human connection. I think of each newspaper as being like a stone thrown on a pond. and there are these ripples that come out of where it hits the water, and those ripples go out and they intersect with other ripples, and you don't know what that's going to cause. It's people connecting to people over the medium of this newspaper that is the product.
Getting the community together to know what's going on within the community.
We're able to build relationships, friendships, and a lot of things come about from just being out here.
And the readers, they love the paper because it helps people all over the world. It's getting bigger because of you, and you, and you, and people who buy this paper. It's getting bigger every year.
Okay, that tells you a little bit about the street paper. But as far as I'm concerned, Chicago have the best street papers because we have Streetwise, and not only do we have Streetwise, but we have David Hamilton. And before we switch, I'd like to let you know that you can also join Streetwise and become a vendor. All you have to do is come down to orientation Tuesday or Thursday at 10 o'clock. 4554 North Broadway, Suite 350. You can take the red line to Wilson, and when you get off the train, ask anybody. They'll tell you what Streetwise is. But Streetwise will be moving, and we'll tell you more about that later. But in the meantime, we would like to talk about this issue, and the future is females. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Alan. So, today on the show, we wanted to invite Rachel.
Hi.
Rachel is an intern here at the Chicago semester. And so she is actually not from Chicago, just interning in Chicago.
Yeah.
Tell us how that works.
Yeah, I'm part of the Chicago semester program, and so they get college students from many different colleges around the country. I go to college in Iowa, and so they are big there. And
What school?
Northwestern College in Orange City, Iowa. And they came to my school. They told me, you need an internship to graduate. You could do it in Chicago. We'll help you find where you'll live, and we'll help you connect you with a business. And yeah, I got really excited. So then she told me about Streetwise and connected me with you.
Mm-hmm. So when we initially talked and you were like visiting from Iowa, but you're originally from South Dakota, which I want to say because I'm also from South Dakota, so we kind of bonded right away.
It's a great state.
Yeah, but so when you're going to school in Iowa and you're calling Chicago and you're like calling me on the phone, like what was it about Streetwise that made you want to join us and like come intern with us for an entire semester? It's a commitment. You're not only interning like most people think, like, you know, maybe 4 hours a day. She's working full 8-hour days. She's working 32 hours a week. And it's not the kind of internship where you just get coffee and dry cleaning. It's not like that at all.
Thank goodness.
You're a full-time employee for us. So what was it about Streetwise that made you want to join us?
What I loved about Streetwise is that just hearing about it, they were going to let, like, I could use the skills that I knew I had to help people and to actually make a difference. It wasn't just going to be just to make pretty things. They're actually doing good work, and it's proven to work, and it's proven to help people. And I loved that, and I needed to be a part of that. So that was really what drew me.
Oh, okay. And then what are you studying that makes you qualified to work with us? Tell us that, too.
So I'm about to graduate with my public relations major. So I have experience in all types of things like writing, social media, design, that type of stuff. But really what I love to do is write, and I love that I can use writing to share people's stories and give them a voice. And I love that I can do that with Streetwise. So
Have there been any highlights of projects that you've worked on with Streetwise?
Ooh, I really loved when I got to interview vendors for the yearbook issue, because everybody that I interviewed just said, Streetwise means everything to me. It means life. It changed everything, and and everyone said that, and I had no idea it was making such an impact, and so that was really impactful for me to see that it was so good for them.
Eye-opening? Good. So let's move on to this week's issue. Just went on sale yesterday. And like I told Alan before, we kind of had this concept of like looking back, looking forward. It's like a week, and then another week. And then the first week, and I use this like old artwork and make it seem like old-timey. And I use like Baroque frames on the inside to make it feel like a little bit like kind of old-timey, a little Nouveau, Art Nouveau-ish. And then this issue, as we came back to it with the lovely Lizzo on the cover, who seems to just be the talk of all the towns. But I wanted to make a cover that was a lot more modern, a lot more, a forward-thinking look, which, I mean, design's always changing, so forward-thinking is always changing too. But for this week, it does its job. So we had you kind of take the reins on this project. So do you want to kind of talk about like what you did and where the thoughts came from and stuff like that?
Yeah. So basically, before I started working on this, that was the direction I was given, was what you just said, is like, let's find some women who are doing cool things now. And so basically, I just started doing research on celebrities that I had, or maybe already knew were doing some cool things, but I didn't really know too much. And then into some Chicago-based women, and I really didn't know anything about them, so that was all direction from you and from Suzanne, our editor, and so basically I just spent way too many days doing research and hours, trying to find who is actually doing the work, who's not just saying we need to be better, but really living it.
Right.
And so that's who
it's
I tried to
kind of a
find.
rarity too.
Right.
A lot of people can talk.
Right.
So when we originally were starting working on this, I remember, and I'm sure you remember because it wasn't that long ago,
Yeah.
but we were talking about, doing all celebrities and just talking about like pop culture in general, not necessarily pointing out our Chicago friends, but like just kind of, celebrating pop culture and like how, female-powered movies and events and things are hopefully changing for the better, for more equality. So like the kind of thought was to celebrate it in pop culture.
Yeah.
But then we ended up like bringing in the Chicago element because we are Streetwise and we're nothing without Chicago. Chicago is the world to us.
We love it.
So how did you end up feeling about your article, and what was really inspiring about learning about, inspiring Chicago women?
Yeah.
What was inspiring about them?
Yeah. I loved that because I think a lot of people hear about celebrities and they don't know that there are people who maybe don't have as many followers or aren't as famous, but they're still doing amazing work. And those people, you don't hear about those people enough. And so I loved that. I loved that we're giving them a platform and we're showing them, and it kind of shows people anybody can do it. You don't have to be famous to do good work and to be an advocate for a cause. So I loved that.
Nice. Well, who stands out in that group of people?
Oh, wow.
So basically, once you pick up the magazine, you'll understand what we're talking about a little bit fuller. But we ended up with 10 women. 5 of them are like kind of the bigger name celebrities, like Lizzo, that's on the cover. And then 5 of them are local. Some of them are still celebrities, but they're local women that are, making waves and activists and nonprofit organizers and stuff like that. So, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have like one who I think is doing more than the other necessarily, but Heather Boney really stood out to me because she is using theater to do amazing work, and I'm a huge theater fan.
She is executive director of Erasing the Distance.
Yes, and so she is showing that vulnerability can make a world of difference, which I think is a message that needs to be out there more. And so I really loved hearing about that. And then also hearing about Karen Tamley, too. She, it was very tangible, the amount of work that she's done and the difference that she's made. And so that was really amazing. She's like, this is what I've done, and this is what I've done, and this is what I've done. Is
What does she do now?
Yeah. So she works with on a number of different, as a chair of the, but she really helps people with disabilities, and so she just started recently as like president and CEO of Access Living.
Access Living, yeah.
And so, but before that, she worked with the mayor, and that's where a lot of her work has come from. And they did a lot of things, like even things that you wouldn't really think about, like taxi cab initiative and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
gosh,
all those things you never
yeah.
even think about. And so I love that all her work was so tangible. It's just list went on
Just
and
like
on.
literally making a difference that everyone can feel. Like, that's pretty great.
Yeah, so I loved hearing about all of them, but those are kind of two that stood out, I suppose.
What was your process of finding these women? Did you have to like develop a process, a way to go about it, or how did you stumble upon these people?
Yeah, luckily you and Suzanne knew a lot of places to start looking and a lot of women who are doing amazing things, and so that was a great start. And there were websites, and let's say like a nonprofit who was honoring women in Chicago, and I could go through them and like see the different things that they've done, and some of them like support, let's just say they support a great organization financially, which is of course an amazing thing, but I also I wanted even more depth than that, and I wanted to push the envelope a little farther, and
like on the streets.
who was like really, really making a difference. And so like lots of people can make a difference in the world, so it was definitely hard to choose just 5.
Yeah, no,
but
for sure.
we could have easily had this be a book.
This could be every issue for the whole year. We could easily find women making real change every single week.
Yes. So that's the thing is there's just 10 in here, but that doesn't mean these are the only 10 women in the world, and it doesn't mean they're the best of all the women in the world. Just 10 we decided to feature.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I was very excited when you included e-viewing.
Yeah.
I've never met her, but I've seen her speak a couple times, and I've always just really liked her a lot. So I thought it was really cool that you stumbled upon her too. And of course, I loved getting to do a cover with Lizzo on it. It's actually our second Streetwise cover with Lizzo, but this one's better.
You might be a fan.
I like this one better. Yeah, maybe I'm a fan. Maybe that's the thing. We only have 1 minute left, but do you want to tell me anything more about, or anything about what your aspirations are to do once you're done with Streetwise?
I just want to say, definitely pick up a magazine, because, you'll learn new things that you might think you know, but there's so much more to learn, and so definitely. And then as far as for me, I hope I can continue to live in Chicago and share people's stories and give them a voice, and Streetwise is a great platform for that, so I'm really grateful for this opportunity, for sure.
Good.
Genuinely.
Good. You're not scared of the big city? You want to move here with us?
Maybe both. Maybe I'm scared and I want to know. No, I definitely do.
Good. Well, thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
As Alan mentioned earlier, we are moving, so we will have a little bit more information next week, but our new offices are going to be at 2001 South State Street, and we'll have more information on that. And thank you for watching us on KMTV today.
Thanks.
Goodbye.